Hello there, Wolfpack. At the time of this review, the Mike Myers Halloween saga has officially reached its 12th film in the franchise, Halloween Kills. And can you all guess who my favorite horror icon is? Pinhead. Pfft, no contest. But since there's a new Michael Myers plot out, I suppose we should look at his totally unpopular story arc. I absolutely love the Halloween series. Well, most of it anyway. And it's a tale so legendary that it's lasted as long as Jason Voorhees and even Freddy Krueger. For like the 5 of you out there unfamiliar with these movies, and watching a video spoiling half the deaths for some reason, the Halloween films are a horror series which follows serial killer Michael Myers.
Yeah, baby!
Not quite. This Myers is an ominous, elusive mass murderer who strikes every October, acting as a real-life boogeyman haunting the night. Over the years, the character's background and motivation has been written and rewritten, but Michael has mostly stayed the same. He's a nightmare-inducing slasher, which his stories tease over whether or not if he's only a normal guy who can endure a lot of damage, or secretly a supernatural force of evil.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
Basically, every movie except the crappy third one is about Myers slicing and dicing hundreds of people in his path, while characters with a direct connection to him attempt to stop his rampage. This has spawned 12, going on to 13 movies. But we're here to celebrate this franchise's long lifespan. And what better way to praise Halloween's terrifying power than by looking back at the greatest murders. Everyone who's a horror buff knows how cool Freddy and Jason's kills are, but what were this saga's iconic deaths? Let's celebrate Halloween Kills with Halloween Kills. These are my top 10 favorite death scenes of Hallows Eve. Judith Myers. Yeah, pretty hard to address Myers' bloodthirsty kill streak without mentioning the death which started it all. Judith Myers was Michael's older sister who was supposed to babysit her sibling, but in typical slasher movie fashion, she just fooled around with her boyfriend and allowed her bro to have free reign of the house. This is the beginning of the entire franchise, where we get the foreboding first-person POV shot of Michael wandering around his house, stalking his sister. It acts as an unnerving perspective of how our killer hunts his prey, and shows off John Carpenter's suspenseful directing. Eventually, Mikey corners Judith in her room, jump-scaring her, before stabbing her several times with the kitchen knife, kick-starting Michael's taste for blood, his trademark weapon, and obsessive desire to kill his entire family in the sequels. What makes this scene worthy on the list is that it's also connected to a big twist. After killing his whiny sister, Mikey gets caught by his parents, revealing that our murderer was merely a child. Yep, a 6-year-old boy slaughtered his sister for the thrill, showing that Myers was pretty twisted even back then. This kill was the first death in the series, and consistently kept canon in all films. It is so disturbing. Even Rob Zombie tried recapturing this moment. But, yeah, we don't talk about Zombie on this channel. Regardless, you can't ignore the establishing moment of cinema's scariest story.
Okay, Linda. Come on out.
Bob. I know I'm probably gonna get a few irked viewers questioning why this random-ass dude made it on the list, yet there is a reason. While Bob's not a defining lead, he easily received the most memorable death scene of the first classic. Bob and his girlfriend Linda are invited by another character who's babysitting to come party at a house the teens have all to themselves, where he and Linda get laid in someone else's bed. Classy. However, while going off to get some after-sex beverages, Bob is jumped by Myers, who throttles the guy for some time, before earning the assassination trophy. This kill displays the unnatural super strength Michael has, since he lifts this man up one-handed and is strong enough to plunge a knife all the way through him, pinning him on a door, as even Myers is impressed by his own handiwork. This is the only kill in movie 1, which hints that Michael might have superpowers, since the kill requires some force to impale a victim to the wall with a small dagger. And later in the film, Myers even pins him to the ceiling, so he did this move twice, without struggle. Michael must eat his veggies. While Bob may be forgettable, his death scene is not. It shows that Myers contains a spooky inner strength, which hung around for the rest of the series. Ben Tramer. Oh yeah, we are including kills on this list, which weren't all caused by Myers. What can I say? It's not a great horror show if only one guy does all the murder. Ben Tramer was only mentioned in the first flick. He was just some guy who Laurie had a crush on. He eventually appears physically in the underappreciated Halloween 2, unfortunately dressed exactly like Myers.
Hey, what a coinkydink.
The movie's hero, Dr. Loomis, accidentally mistakes Tramer for the killer and pursues him, where this happens.
Stop! Shoot! Stop! Help!
Holy cow, that was awesome! Ben Tramer's death was the most over-the-top scene of Halloween 2, and I'm counting it because this marked the point where the Halloween series began granting character deaths more outrageous extremes. Some insanely cool, and some that weren't. I actually kind of enjoy when Halloween dipped into the over-the-top kills like this, since it leaves a much stronger impression on you, rather than the killer simply stabbing somebody. I mean, how can you not admire this ridiculously massive bang for a minor background character? It's just so fun. While we hardly knew Ben, this kill marked the saga reaching some new, explosive proportions. Incel Guy from Halloween 2018. Won't lie, I totally forgot this guy's name. But be honest, so did you. While Halloween 2018 breathed fresh new life back into the franchise, this was the only perfect death scene in my eyes. The reboot/sequel/whatever timeline created a ton of brutal, gory kills, but many of which didn't outclass the old school flicks. However, this one is what I consider the most effective. Incel Guy is pretty much one of those entitled nice guys who tries to score with the new protagonist because he's so kind to her, but she unsurprisingly rejects him. So Incel Guy gets drunk in someone else's backyard, where he mistakes Myers as the neighbor owner, whom he apologizes to and cries out his woes to.
Have you ever really liked a girl and you just couldn't have her?
While it's so obvious what comes next, this kill is turned amazing thanks to the motion sensor lights, which allow Michael to appear and disappear in record time. It's so creepy how Myers hones in like a predator before the jump scare lights activate again at his movements, all while the loser slowly puts it together that he's caged with the boogeyman. The dude tries to get away, but Mikey always wanted to stake a vampire, where he assassinates him and even impales his fat face through a fence post he failed to climb over. It leaves quite the gnarly image, and at last emphasizes how Mikey is gonna be more brutal than ever. This kill does make it higher for me, since a ton of Halloween 2018's kills occur off-screen, which is a bit terrifying, but this is one of the few we get to fully see. Michael Myers does not care how sad your life is. He is still merciless. Incel guy only wanted people to notice him, so wish granted. Sarah from Halloween Water. You'd be forgiven if you totally forgot this character even existed. Sarah was the generic party girl best friend to a main character's love interest. However, she does receive the most ghoulish kill in her story. The 20-year anniversary movie follows both Laurie Strode and her son John. In the son's plot, he and his friends have a secret Halloween party at the abandoned dorms, where, naturally, Mikey shows up uninvited. After Myers offs her boyfriend, Sarah comes a-looking for him, where the shape jumps her from the shadows. Sarah actually tries escaping from the lunatic, but Myers grants her the most grisly death as he injures her along the way. This chick ends up stabbed in one leg, gets her other leg grossly shattered in a dumbwaiter, and just when she tries making it to her friends, Mikey shows up and stabs her multiple times for all the trouble she gave him.
Oh, please.
I guess he didn't love the reminder of Jamie escaping him. This is seriously the most hard to watch death scene in the story. But if that wasn't enough to disturb you, her pals try to find her, where we see that Myers gave her a new makeover. Holy scrap, is that horrifying. This is, paws down, the most gruesome kill of the franchise. Not only does this very minor character receive such a gnarly demise, but this was one of the best Myers kills ever, since he returns to using dead bodies as Halloween decorations. I love it how Michael not only slaughters people horribly, but he also recycles the corpses into Halloween decorations to scare others. As a sort of sixth sense of humor. It's one of the rare hints that Myers does have some feeling underneath his emotionless demeanor. Much like Bob, Sarah would be a minor throwaway character, but the ghoulish overkill she suffers made an imprint on this saga which lasted forever. If it isn't awful enough that this psycho kills you, this shows you that even in death, Myers will find a way to make you a part of his happy Halloween. Kelly Meeker, the sheriff's daughter. This is definitely another case where the death overshadows the character, yet it's one of the funniest. Kelly is gal pals with Halloween 4's protagonists, Rachel and Jamie. Halfway through the story, the sisters are sheltered at her house when the town goes under lockdown after Michael makes his presence known. Halloween 4 sees Myers stalking Jamie to kill her since she's his niece, and Mikey wants to annihilate his bloodline. They shut themselves in Kelly's house with police guards protecting them, yet that doesn't slow down Mikey one bit. Kelly attempts to lighten up their group's mood, but in a really epic reveal, she finds out that the Shape is in the house, where he corners her at gunpoint. But rather than go for the obvious kill, Myers does something unique. He impales her with a shotgun. A shotgun! That's amazing! The first time Michael ever has his paws on a gun, and he shanks a bitch with it. That's hilarious. I've got nothing. I just find it funny.
I got a shotgun.
John Strode, the abusive father. Halloween 6 is viewed as one of the worst entries in the saga, yet a masterful saving grace is Johnny Boy's demise. John Strode is a grade-A douchebag who abuses his family and carelessly moves them into the old Myers house since he couldn't sell it through his failing realty biz, oblivious to the fact that Michael might return home one day. Of course, on Halloween night, John returns drunk and angsty after his wife calls him out on dooming the fam, where he feels sorry for himself, blaming the Myers myth for all his problems. But Mikey naturally shows up to repay him for fixing up his crib, where we get one of the most satisfying, brutal, and awesome deaths ever. His whole bloody head explodes. That is bossa nova. Say what you will about the curse of Michael Myers, but this has one of the greatest kills and coolest effects I've seen in this series. I know it's really over the top, but not only did they save it for the biggest prick in the movie, it's one of this franchise's most creative death scenes. It's super sleek. How can anyone not like this scene? Definitely a shocking showcase.
My brains.
Cold out there.
It can get cold in here.
Bud the Medic was a goofy comic relief character who some folks have mixed feelings on in the polarizing Halloween 2. Yet I truly believe his death deserves more recognition for what it added to the franchise. Bud basically goes off to play pool party with his girlfriend at the hospital's therapy hot tub, where Myers separates the duo by cranking the heat. Bud goes off to adjust it, and in a hauntingly grim scene, we vaguely spot the Shape strangling the bro to death. All while his lady and the audience never hear a single sound through the opposite of the glass. I love this kill, since not only is it scary, but it started Michael Myers pulling stealth kills. The killer would essentially take out people just barely out of shot, with the main characters none the wiser. A trick which made Halloween 2018 more impressive. I just find it real creepy how not only can the killer watch you just out of vision, but they can also murder people close by with nobody seeing. To me, that is more nerve-wracking than Rob Zombie's splatterfests ever were, since it's the definition of silent and deadly. Bud's death was simply one of the first which did this, so that's why I view this as one of the darkest kills here. While Freddy and Pinhead are all about spectacle, with Michael, you'd never know what hit you.
Hey, Cochran? Fuck you!
The crazy homeless rebel from Halloween 3. I know. Yes, we are counting a kill from the black sheep of this collection. Season of the Witch is a tale which has many, many flaws, and even I have anything but love for this plot. Yet I did find a cool death in this. We have another fatality not actually caused by Michael Myers, but rather the entirely new villains in the totally separate story arc Halloween 3. We follow a doctor trying to solve a murder mystery, which leads him into a corporate town ran by the blatantly evil Silver Shamrock Company.
Happy, happy Halloween, 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 happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
We are not resorting to that.
While investigating, the hero encounters a weird old homeless guy who informs him that the CEO is evil and he plans to burn the entire city. Like a total idiot, he overlooks the fact that the corporate town has high security, so the company dispatches their Michael Myers robots to crush the rebellion. And much like John's fate, his death is really over the top, but in an ultra grisly way.
Killtrocity.
Oh, sweet Celestia, that's horrible. I can honestly say I did not expect that to happen. I don't like Halloween 3, but even I will admit that this death scene is as outstanding as it is gruesome. It's some of the best effects John Carpenter has ever done. Maybe not The Thing fantastic, but for an attempt at a whole new vision, he certainly tried. Remember, kids, when you take on the head of an evil industry, make sure you don't lose yours. Before we reach our number one, here are a few honorable mentions. And the number one Halloween kill is...
Michael.
Aw yeah, the granddaddy death in the franchise, the kill to end all kills, is the original death of none other than serial killer Michael Myers from Halloween H2O. Before Resurrection destroyed the timeline again, Halloween 20 years later was meant to be the final send-off for the franchise.
You should have stayed that way.
After enduring another killing spree thanks to her psychotic brother, Laurie finally has enough, and not wanting another sequel, she hijacks Myers' ambulance to finish the job once and for all. Michael and his sister have an epic death battle all throughout the movie, and in the climax get into a last struggle, leading to Michael getting pinned under a car wreck. Mikey tries to deceive his sister into helping him, but realizing that he's playing her again, Laurie gives us one of the most epic endings of a horror sequel.
Killionaire.
And believe it or not, that was the original finale to the Halloween saga. Could you even ask for more? Mikey's beheading was unexpectedly magnificent. According to James Rolfe himself, he stated that his movie theater legit cheered at this moment when it occurred. Even the hardcore Halloween fanbase loved this finale that much. And can you blame them? After all the crap our villain pulled for over 20 years, Michael at last gets his comeuppance and suffers a fitting death for the man who kick-started the slasher genre. To this day, I consider this the best death of the saga, since all of this horror began with Michael killing his sister. Then, after years of terrorizing the world, it ends with his younger sister killing him. A perfect ending to a perfect horror tale. Nothing has ever topped this for me, since it's brutal, satisfying, well-written, and ends both journeys for our hero and villain. Though this was retconned into an innocent medic actually being replaced by Michael, so shouldn't the medic be my number one? Nah, who are we kidding? Resurrection's non-canon. We know Michael will never truly die, but this will always be the flawless victory. And those were my favorite kills of the Hallows' Eve collection. So, what do you think? Were these deaths incredible or what? Did Halloween Kills or any Michael movies still being made in the future outclass these? What were your favorite death scenes? I'm your vicious host, Catastrophe, and Hey, kitty, get your ass away from there. Ah!
Hey, Cochran, fuck you!